We're happy to start the Rural Opportunities podcast. This podcast is going to be interviewing all the City of Camrose candidates, and I'm delighted this morning to have Joy-Ann Murphy with me, who's running for council with City of Camrose. So welcome, Joy-Ann.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So we sent everybody a list of questions. So what I think we'll do is I'll just read those questions and feel free to answer. And then at the end, if we have anything I haven't covered, feel free to add it in.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, because I think all of us in the City of Camrose are excited for this election and all the great candidates that are showing up. So we're excited to get to know you. So first question, name, you don't have to answer the age. It was a younger person that wrote this.
I had a
feel
good
free if you want. And then just a little bit about yourself, Joy-Ann.
Well, I'll be a little bit vague and say mid-50s for my
Perfect.
age. And of course, my name is Joy-Ann Murphy. And this is kind of a joke in my family because I'm married to Daryl, but my brother is named Daryl and his wife is Joanne. So you have to get it right. I'm Joy-Ann.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
Joanne. I know, it's very funny. We've had years of jokes. So there you go.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah. A little bit about myself, other than my brother and his wife. I've lived in Camrose for almost exactly the last 20 years. We came in August of 2001.
Okay.
And before that, I was born and raised in Edmonton, and I went to university I did a very long first degree. I went to the U of A and decided to go with a friend to Montreal and went to McGill. And then I came back to Edmonton and did my master's, all in music. So
I was going to assume music by the background in your office.
Yeah, right. I have a few music books on shelves behind me. Yeah, a guitar hanging, lots of fun. It's very visually stimulating. Let's just say that. There's lots to look at.
Totally.
I make my living as a music educator. I teach privately, both in my house and at Augustana through their conservatory and for credit students. And I lead choirs for singers of all ages and abilities, mostly in Camrose, but of course the surrounding area too.
Yeah. So what got you into music?
Oh, what got me into music? Oh, okay. This is so fun. Elementary school, we just happened to have a great music teacher. When I moved into grade 3, 4, she came in there, and she was young and full of energy and so artistic, and everybody just fell in love with her. I think she was so fun and so enthusiastic, and I could holler really loud in choir. I just was loud and extroverted, and I loved it. So, and she really encouraged all of us, and it just one thing after another. You see something and you think, oh, I'd like to do that, and then you hear somebody and you think, wow, that's so great. And I just ended up falling in love with both choirs and singing solo stuff, and I feel really lucky. It's always been a pretty low key living that I've earned, but I've cobbled together enough to make my way in the world doing what I love. So I feel pretty fortunate.
That is all we can ever hope for, right? Is that we get to live our passion, and it sounds like you are.
Or leave space for your passion somehow. Right? And I'm married. I have 2 adult kids, and the second of them just moved to Edmonton. So we're kind of empty nesters.
Oh,
a little bit interesting.
That's a new dynamic.
A little bit. Youngest one was away for the summer too at a summer camp job, so we were getting used to it, but now it's official. So
now it's official.
Yeah.
Empty nest. Yeah. Okay, so have you redone the bedrooms yet then?
Not quite. No, we're not quite that quick on the uptake. He just moved like a week ago. So
okay, you'll get there.
We'll have
right?
to see after the election when I feel less busy. I will.
Right.
That kind of thing. So I'm married to Daryl DeWalt, who is the music minister, they call him, but he's the organist and the choir director at the United Church here in town.
Nice.
And so we met in choir. I used to make fun of people who met in choir, but
I know, right?
Apparently, yeah. And besides music, I'm really interested in reading, languages, current events, the environment. And during the pandemic, I took up sewing. It was partly,
oh my God, I was going to do that.
Trying to just make choirs still work. So I went down the rabbit hole of figuring out the best mask for singers to use. And I a lot of those. So fun.
Yeah,
mostly.
challenging, definitely when it
Yeah.
comes to performing arts during
Oh, yeah.
during the pandemic has been eye-opening to say the least,
Oh,
right?
yeah. You guys at the CRE know all about that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we
It's,
do.
oof. Yeah.
That's well, that's great. Okay, so our next question, which all candidates, I'll just remind viewers that all
Mhm.
candidates are getting these same set of questions.
Mhm.
In the Cape, in what capacities have you been involved in the city activities in your past?
Well, I've been a full member of the Camrose Green Action Committee since January of this year, but before that, I was involved in that committee's work. They had sort of struck an ad hoc committee to try to look at community engagement, and I was
Yeah.
involved in that for about a year. I
Okay.
think my other experience, I have quite a bit of board experience, organizational experience, grant writing experience because of all the music stuff that I do.
For sure.
And then I was also, I just was kind of thinking about French immersion when my kids were little. And so it was probably around 2004, I called the Battle River School Division and said, "So do you have French immersion somewhere in the system?" And I don't know who I talked to, but their answer was, "No, we haven't had any interest." And I thought, "What? Like, how is that? What?" So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "Well, I'm interested, so there must be somebody else." So I put a petition out at the preschool where my eldest was attending. And sure
Perfect.
enough, probably within a week, we had 25 families who said, "Yeah, we'd totally be on board with that." And then another mom said, "Okay, so that's a class. What are you doing?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" but we went. She and I went and basically brought that petition to the Battle River School Division, and it was just the right time, obviously, because that school board was really open to it. They said, "Sure, what
Nice.
do we need to do?" And by the time, like, my eldest was heading into kindergarten, and they said that's a little too fast of a turnaround. But by the time my
Yeah.
eldest was in grade 1, we had a French immersion program going. And so I stayed with that parent group, and we advocated for the shift into junior high. At the time, it was still 7, 8, 9 at Charlie Kilmer.
Yeah.
And then when the time came for grade 10 and high school, that was the front cohort, right, with that group of kids.
Yeah.
So we just put together a presentation and went to the school board again and said, "Right, we think you should keep going." And they did. So feels really kind of serendipitous, right? Like we had a group
Yeah.
of trustees and superintendent and staff that were all on board. So managed to get that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. So you have experience with policy, obviously, and
Yeah.
the grassroots that it takes to
Research,
get
writing
going.
grants. Absolutely. Yeah. So,
Right?
and I should also say because Daryl has been working for the United Church, we are members there, and I've been
Yep.
on what's called the Social Concerns Committee. And it's basically just looking at issues of poverty, equality, sustainability, food security, inclusion,
Yeah.
however you want to frame those, justice,
Yeah.
fairness kind of things.
Totally.
So it's low key. We're looking to educate our community within the church, but we do reach out and do things in the greater Camrose community too.
Amazing. I love the French immersion story, right?
Yeah.
And people, they forget it. Sometimes it's passionate citizens banding together. That's what governance is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's as a leader of a nonprofit charity here in the city, we can't have all the great ideas. Sometimes we rely on our populace to, come in and tell us this is what we want,
Absolutely.
right? So
You see a need and you think, well, why isn't that being done right now?
yeah,
And I've always been the person who feels like I may as well ask the question.
I love that.
Yeah.
That makes you a great counselor already.
Okay, that's what I think.
Yeah. Okay. Question number 3. What is this greatest strength that you bring to this role, and what will be your biggest learning curve?
Okay, well, when I was writing my notes to myself, I did include the fact that I am the person who likes to ask the question. And
I love that.
Feel like I'm the person who says, well, it might be up to me to step forward and get involved.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I know that not everybody is extroverted. I'm married to an introvert, and then, genetics, we gave birth to a couple kids who are not nearly as extroverted as their mother, right? So
that's right.
I kind of get that, but I feel like maybe that's part of my job because it's my skill set to be extroverted, to
Mhm.
feel comfortable
Mhm.
approaching strangers, approaching people in authority, and asking maybe sometimes the hard question or the awkward question.
Yeah.
I like to think that I'm always ready for no, or ready for, oh, that's hard, and here's what we
Yes.
have to do to make it work, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've been told I don't come across as ready to hear. So, you know, I'm working on it, but I think my greatest strengths are really that this passion for clear communication, for collaboration, strong
That's
desire to set the stage for our community or whatever organization I'm working with to
yeah.
thrive, to really do their best.
Yeah,
Um,
no, and that's what a lot of people will gravitate towards. They may not be comfortable asking those questions and are looking for leaders that, will ask those questions for them.
yeah, yeah. I'm a fast reader.
Oh, that's
I feel,
important.
yeah, I feel like, I mean, of course, this changes a little bit with age and you have to keep working at it, right? But I feel like I learned fairly well, fairly quickly, you
Yeah,
know. And I was thinking about what are some positives, and I have had a busy, packed calendar for most of my working life, so I feel
perfect.
like I'll just be ready for that, you know, and see
Right.
how it goes.
Yeah.
And then
It'll just be natural.
I hope. My biggest learning curve, I might have hinted at this already, will be in the area of patience, right? I'm a bit of
Yeah.
a go-getter.
Yeah.
So that's occasionally a challenge, but I have people in my life who help me stay a little bit anchored and a little bit give me perspective.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, and I anticipate that the relationships that I develop with my fellow councillors, with city staff, with whoever gets elected as mayor, you know, that those
Yeah.
are also going to, and with constituents, of course, those are also going to help me stay anchored in what's
Yeah.
important and why we're doing this work.
Yeah. And that's what I think, and again, because you have that great experience, working for committees and volunteer committees, sometimes people ask the question, well, we gave you this idea. Why aren't you just doing it? Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that easy sometimes. Right.
Yeah.
And for people to understand that, but I agree with you. One of the points you made is, clear communication back to people. Okay, we've heard, we're
Right.
working on it, and this is why it takes this long, right? And it's
Yeah.
just helping people understand that process sometimes.
Yeah. And being able to, you know, direct people. Okay, you asked this question over here and you didn't get the response you wanted. So here's the way to further your issue,
Yeah.
or at least further the discussion around your issue, right? Here
Yeah.
are some resources, or here's what else we might need, or here's the city staff person who knows everything about how to get that thing done, you know,
Yeah.
or what
Yeah.
hoops to jump through, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah, I can imagine it's a huge learning curve. So I'm
this is what I
excited for you
hear.
guys to start your journey and get on it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's going to be a pretty new council, right? There aren't a lot of
Massive. It sounds
returning
like
counselors.
it's all new. Potentially, I know Agnes is running, but I think that's the only one
Yeah,
rerunning.
and then of course
So
we have incumbents, but they're both running for mayor, so one of
yeah.
them will still be with us.
And it's challenging but exciting at the same time,
Yeah.
right? Is that you guys get to bond together and form your group. And I don't think anybody in Camrose would be hesitant to change. So that's exciting.
Yeah. This is what we're hoping for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look at you go. Question number 4. What is a change in the city that you personally, Joy Ann, would like to see happen? And how do you believe you will help to be a part of that?
There were kind of two main things that I thought of. I believe that all levels of government, all industry really, are already experiencing a slow bend toward, and these are loaded words, so if people want to ask me about them later, they can, but toward environmental and sustainable awareness and practices. Like, I think through the general direction our society is taking, is needing to take, we are becoming, those are becoming more and more inevitable. And so we need, as a municipal government, to surf that wave instead of following behind.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? I think we're going to have to work to figure out, and I believe, because I've been on the Green Action Committee, I've seen the city staff be open and supportive, and even city council as it currently is, as they were getting to the end of their tenure, they were still open and supportive and aware, right?
Yeah.
But I think that task is one of the big ones that still remains in front of us. How do we best balance the needs of our city with the needs of the greater communities of Alberta, Canada, the world, right? So that's really exciting to me.
Yeah.
But I would put it in the category of a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second thing is, I hope to find a path forward for all levels of government to collaborate for the good of individuals and communities, small and large, to figure out how best to allocate funding and responsibilities so that the local direct contact that we have with citizens is well supported. I know that there have been a few shifts in funding, and I need to do more research around it, but what I'm reading from the Alberta Urban Municipalities Association is that that has a slightly negative impact on how municipalities are funded. So we already have people talking to me anyway, and I've seen it mentioned elsewhere about the fact that our property taxes are pretty darn high, and I know that our current council didn't do anything with them. They kept them steady.
Right.
So it's still a concern, even though the previous council kept them steady. So how do we go forward with cuts to provincial funding, right? That we are going to be part of a much larger discussion.
Yeah, on financial
how funding
sustainability
models can work, sustainability, exactly, as we plan our own response to externalities, right? But also as we join together maybe to advocate for funding that benefits and sustains all municipalities in Alberta.
Yeah.
So being part of that. How will I help? Well, I can work hard on behalf of Camrose residents, try to keep their best interests in mind and advocate. I said tirelessly when I was writing things down, but within my abilities, I will advocate
within your abilities
with my colleagues for the priorities that we set together. And I see, I've already said, I see many efforts that our current administration has already been doing on that front, but acknowledge that, yes, it's not new, like they've already seen that ball and been dealing with it, but here's what we're going to have as we go forward. Right?
Oh, totally. And I think it only gets tighter and tighter. I know we feel it as a nonprofit too, even with granting and our programs here. What would have been considered a good grant application 10 years ago doesn't even make the cut now, right? You have to be uber cautious on the way, what you're using these funds for, how you're using them, how they benefit the community good, which is all great questions.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. And we should be thinking about those things anyway, right?
Totally. Yeah. But it will get tighter and tighter, especially after the funds that, had to be dumped in to help organizations, get through COVID. And we know that very well at CRE. We understand at some point there's going to be a restraint or, a pullback.
Yeah, some sort of reckoning, right?
Totally. We get that.
Yeah, I'm just one of those people who hopes that we can find ways to not be punitive about it.
Exactly.
To really not punish a big swath of our society, our community. We find ways to help and sustain keep as many people on the raft together as possible, right?
Totally. Like it was all encompassing. I don't think you could highlight it to one industry got off less or worse than the other. It was all encompassing, from our small businesses downtown, to nonprofits, to everybody. So
I mean, you just never know why somebody got stuck in some weird position where they were without a job or without whatever security, so there was just so much going on, and I can't even begin to imagine how complicated that was. And we just cross our fingers that we are actually soon gonna come out the other side, because
exactly. Cross our fingers. That's right. Okay, that's great. So number 5, why is municipal politics important to you personally?
Well, I've really come to appreciate the benefits of our local setup, in which we have no wards in Camrose, and therefore I feel very little partisanship.
Yeah.
right? It really appeals to me to be able to judge issues and concerns on their individual merits and
Yeah.
make decisions after consultation with experts and residents and stakeholders without feeling this background pressure or maybe an overt pressure to toe some party line.
Right.
I want to work based on what's in front of us and not based on a set of parameters that
Yeah. I think that's what appeals a lot to a lot of people with municipal politics as opposed to federal or provincial even, is that you don't have to worry about towing the party line.
Yeah. And even taking away wards, like I don't need to worry about just one neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
you can look at the big picture.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, see, look at how fast it goes, right? Number 6 and our final, and then we'll do some follow-up. Okay. Why do you believe that you are the best candidate for this position, Joyanne?
Well, I see myself as a kind of a bridge builder, a learner, a diplomat in the best sense, as in trying to figure out what's going on and when feathers are ruffled or emotions are high and, trying to work through.
Right.
I am someone with strong convictions about fairness, compassion, and understanding. I'm passionate and concerned and willing to work at something until I figure it out.
I think that's excellent. Yeah. It's an excellent answer.
Thank you.
Right. I think that's what everybody hopes for with their city councilors and is that they're there for the right reasons, fighting for them. Right. And trying to find that balance between good governance and keeping the community going. Right. And attractive.
Yeah, right. When you say things like Camrose is a thriving community, that it's a great word. I love the word thriving.
Yes.
I probably used it in a bit of my publicity, but it probably means something a little bit different to everybody that you talk to, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so figuring out what does it mean for different individuals in different contexts, and what does it mean for us today looking at this question?
Yeah. So how are you going to use your, and I'm not, I want to be careful how I frame this question, but how are you going to use your experience as a music teacher, which having to deal with different personalities coming in and trying to educate them on an issue? How do you feel those skills are really going to help you?
Yeah. Well, I like to think that, especially the choir work that I've done over the years with all different ages, because I've had children's choirs all the way up to adult choirs, that you're constantly having to work collaboratively anyway, right? Like, of course, you want people to have a certain level of skill before they come in to a choir, or else you have a very beginner choir and you make it that kind of thing. But once people are involved in the group, you're learning so many things, and you're working with, you're expressing so many things with just creating music together, right?
Yeah.
And it's fun because that goal of creating music together will bring people in who might not otherwise encounter each other.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean,
no, I love that answer.
I think maybe I'm drawn to choral stuff because I like collaboration. I don't know, right? Like your input is so vital, but you also blend right in. And the ideal blend is when nobody can tell what you sound like, right?
Yes.
So that's a little different than working on a board or working on a council. But it's kind of the same, is that, if you have everybody there working for a common goal, right? It just works. Yeah. When you get into that zone of moving along in the same direction or for the same reasons or toward the same end point, it's pretty amazing, and the time can just fly sometimes.
I know, it's exciting. I come from a background of choir as well, so I get your analogies very well.
And with singing lessons, it's like, let's take what you just did, which was probably perfectly fine, and pick it apart and put it back together. And then put it out there and try to get better and better and better. And so that takes persistence and gentleness, because if you pick somebody apart too much, why would they want to come back?
Right. Right.
You always have to be breaking things down to their component parts for a positive experience as opposed to for a negative experience. Because if all you do is say, well, that was bad,
right,
or that wasn't good enough, right?
Right.
Then nobody wants to return for the next lesson. So
no, why would you keep going back to something like that, right?
So I hope that I've also learned how to, frame things positively, make things enjoyable in the process.
Yeah.
And give goals that are attainable,
I love that.
Yeah.
Right. I think you will be an excellent candidate. CRE is nonpartisan and we can't favor one over the other. But we're very excited for your run, Joyanne, and we wish you the absolute best success with your candidacy. And we'll look forward to seeing you on a council chair after October 18th.
Excellent. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Well, thanks for taking the time to do it. I think it's important that we all get to know you as much as we can, all of you, so we can make the right decision on October 18th. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Rural Opportunities Podcast by CRE. Delighted once again to be welcoming another great candidate that's running for City of Camrose councillor position. So today I get the pleasure of talking with Lana Broker. So welcome, Lana.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, right? Seeing your signs all over town, Lana. You got great coverage. How's it going so far, the campaign?
It's been going fantastic. We made sure that we had our signs out right on the day that we were allowed to. Made us feel good that we were out there, and we have some real high visibility signs. So just hoping people see my sign. If they have any questions, they can always come and ask me, or ask somebody if they know me, and they'll tell you exactly who I am and what I'm all about.
Fantastic. So there you go. There's your advice, listeners. If you want to find out about Lana, ask 10 neighbors. Okay, so we're going to take our standard questions. Listeners, we ask all candidates the same questions. So we're going to start with number one. And number one is your name. Well, we know that, but age, if you desire, we give the option. And then just a little bit about yourself, Lana.
Okay. So my name obviously is Lana Broker, and a little bit about me is I grew up on a farm just northeast of Camrose. I've always loved animals. So after high school, I went to Fairview College and became an animal health technologist.
Oh,
yeah. So love animals, huge into the cattle industry, shown cattle since I was probably 12 years old, all over Canada, United States, and even in Australia. So it's been fantastic. And what an experience, and met a lot of wonderful people and made a lot of contacts. So that was really great for me.
Yeah, I love that.
And so then after I became an animal health technologist, I worked in a couple of different veterinary clinics, which I loved being part of. Yeah. Making a sick animal feel better and giving them back to their family. Like what better feeling than
it's like
that?
The dream job.
Exactly. And their animals are the best thing I think that we're ever put on this planet.
I agree.
They love you unconditionally. And if I can take care of them, then I've done a good job.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So then I moved to Camrose. I've been here all of my adult life.
Yeah.
I've also had the pleasure of working for 3 different departments within the City of Camrose, which is extremely unique for one person.
Oh, is it ever?
Yeah. So I started at the Parks and Recreation Department there, and the Camrose Police Service, and then Public Works.
Okay.
So I did a maternity leave cover over at the Parks and Recreation Service, which was really interesting. Worked a lot with the cemetery and the different things with the pool and the arenas.
Right.
So then it wasn't long after that when a job came open at the police station. So took that position over there and became a 911 dispatcher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Talk about a learning curve.
Talk about a big variety, like to go from an animal health technician to a 911 with so much stress. Absolutely.
It was total change, but I was actually quite impressed in how I was able to slide into that position and handle it well. Like the faster, the bigger the problem or the bigger the emergency, the quicker I could think on my feet. And you had to be that. And when we also worked there, they trained us as emergency medical dispatchers. And so what that is when you call in to 911, I am one of the people who helps you through the crisis until the ambulance gets there.
Right.
So again, more pressure, but absolutely loved my job there.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say good about there. And then I moved over to the Public Works Department.
Okay.
So now I'm taking care of roads and sidewalks and water and sewer, and learned a lot about the city and about how the internals work.
Okay.
And what an amazing city we live in with the services we have.
Yeah.
People don't realize what we have here in Camrose. And
Agreed.
yeah, you know what? Sometimes the sidewalks may get a little beat up and there's some potholes in the road. But overall, this place is fantastic.
Right. I agree. I hear it
fantastic.
over and over.
So work there. Also, my husband and I have been business owners. We have Brokers Marine and Sport. We've been there for 27 years now.
Okay.
Sorry, 24 years.
Yeah.
So we put our roots down here. This is home and we're staying, and I just want to make Camrose a better place. Even a small bit, I will have succeeded.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So, wow, what an interesting history. You've done it all. And I love the fact that you've actually worked at the city. So you understand it from that side as well, right? You've been in there, you've worked with the employees, you've seen kind of the internal workings. So you bring a very unique vision to a council member.
Absolutely. And the people used to tease me and go, well, Lana, there's only one other place in the city you haven't worked, in that City Hall. And when I get elected as a councillor, I'll be there.
There you go. Yeah, it's off the bucket list.
Covered all my bases.
Good girl. I love that. Yeah. Okay. Well, question number 2, and I think you've kind of answered this, but we're going to ask it just to keep on routine here. In what capacities have you been involved with the City of Camrose activities in your past?
And like I said earlier, Diana, I did begin working with the City of Camrose in 1998 in the Parks and Recs department. And not long after that, I made the move to become the 911 dispatcher with the Camrose Police Service.
Yeah.
And there I was responsible for dispatching police, fire, and ambulance. So pretty intense.
Intense, super intense.
I was also one of the emergency medical dispatchers, like I said, that would provide you with the services. Another thing that we also did there too is, while I worked there, we also dispatched 911 for the county of Flagstaff and Penrith for a while.
Oh, wow.
So that became huge.
Yeah.
You had to be pretty much on your toes all the time. Right?
All the time. Yeah.
And like I said, then I moved over to the Public Works Department, where I gained a whole new respect for the day-to-day operations of maintaining our city. Like I tell you, from snow removal to water problems to sewer problems.
Yeah.
And working in these different departments made me even more proud to live in Camrose. I appreciate the many services that we have here, and notably, I also love the golf course.
I
love me some golf.
I love you some golf.
Yes.
Awesome. That's great. And, this is the part where I always tell listeners, okay, you've heard it from almost everybody who's done one of these podcasts, how great Camrose is. So why haven't you booked your trip here yet?
Exactly.
Right? Come check out the city. We guarantee you're going to fall in love with it. And then you're going to want to move here. And we would be delighted to have you as part of our Camrose community.
Exactly. And you don't know how many times, Diane, that I hear people saying that they lived in BC all their lives, but they come to Camrose to retire.
I know.
It's the place to come.
Yeah.
So
get over here, right? What's holding you back, listeners? Awesome. Okay. So number 3, what is the greatest strength that you will bring to this role? And what will be your biggest learning curve?
Good question, Dan. So my greatest strengths are my ability to listen, my work ethic, and my common sense, which you'll see all over my signs.
I love that.
My willingness to learn and willingness to take an active role in committees, fully engaging as a role of a counselor. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. You can always count on me to get things done. I don't give up. I just keep going. You ask anybody who knows me, I'm tenacious that way.
I love that.
Yes. My biggest challenge would probably be gaining the understanding of the municipal acts, the bylaws and the policies, that we govern under. Yeah. But it doesn't frighten me. I'm willing to dig in and learn whatever I need to do. to do the job effectively.
I love that. Yeah, it is the biggest part. And we talk about it here with even onboarding board members, as we're a nonprofit charity. Learning the bylaws, and the Agriculture Societies Act is probably two of the worst jobs that the board goes through.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
But it's what we're all governed by. And again, listeners, it's not a group of people at City Hall just going, oh, I'd like this, let's do that.
No.
There are rules and regulations that govern what can happen in the City of Camrose. So if you haven't checked out the Municipal Governments Act and you can't sleep, by all means, download it and understand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll do that on my sleepless nights.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Okay. I love that. And I love your common sense approach to things. I think a lot of people will really relate to that. Given what's happened in politics all over the world, I think common sense needs to make a big, strong comeback.
Oh, definitely. Go back to our roots. I said at the beginning, I'm a farm girl. That's how I was raised, to work hard and use your common sense. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to do.
I love that. Okay, awesome. So number 4, what is a change in the city that you would like to see happen? And how do you believe you will help to be part of that?
Well, you know that change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, right?
Right.
So the biggest issue I've been told by numerous citizens of Camrose is our taxes. Okay. We really need to look at our tax levy and to see if it's realistic. Mm-hmm. I know that they've been set for no increase for the next couple of years, but the last 2 years, we've been coming out some of the highest in Alberta. Right. For a city our size. You always have to take into consideration the size of your city as per your tax levy, right? Right. So, and I just think that needs to change. And by lowering our taxes, this will encourage young families to move here. Yeah. One of the challenges we face is enticing families to move to Camrose, and to help maintain all of our excellent services and still have affordable taxes. It's a really, really delicate balance, right? Right. Do you raise the taxes and everybody moves away? Do you lower your taxes and you don't get your services and that kind of thing? So it's kind of tough that way. So, and also finding ways to attract industry to our city to grow to the population where we can spread those costs a little bit thinner. Right. And have a larger tax base. Yeah. Then the load won't be so hard. And I'll be advocating for expense control and accountability to the budgets big time. Yeah. Numbers. Oh, absolutely. Got to watch those numbers and make sure we're doing it with common sense.
You got it in there. I love that. Yeah, no, budgets are so important. And it's great that you have that common sense approach to it. It's not like, okay, we have to stop all spending. No, that's not what we're saying.
Not at all.
We're saying, let's spend smartly.
Yes, exactly. If we're spending to have a community that's, we're thinking we're going to be 50,000 people in 5 years, that's probably not a realistic goal. Yeah. We need to realize that within the last 10 years, we've only grown 2,000. Yeah. So it goes back and forth, and Camrose is just, it's the perfect size. Yes. We increase, we decrease, we increase. And if we could get a few more, that would be fantastic.
Awesome. I love that. Okay. And what do you think? I love that you want to be part of that and reviewing that tax levy and, finding that common sense balance. I think that's every taxpayer's dream is just let's use some common sense. And also understanding why this is happening this way, right? So having you're obviously very vocal and you have no problem talking to people. So
not at all.
I love that.
And I know there's a question that I get asked often. It's say people are upset that they have to pay school taxes. Right. And so I explained to them, I understand your frustration. The school taxes are high, right? If you look at your tax notice, your school taxes are fairly high. Yeah. But I don't have any children, and I am happy to pay school taxes. Me too. And they look at me like I have lost my mind. And I explained to them, I have a niece, and my niece is going to go to school. She's going to school right now. She's one day going to hopefully grow up to be a doctor and take care of me. Yeah. So I need to pay those school taxes to get her through school. That's right. And someone helped to put me through school. It's just, it's a thing that happens year after year. It's a generational thing. And we sometimes forget it because when it's right in front of you, you forget what happened in the past. Who helped you get to where you were. So that's right. I try to bring that back. And usually after I'm done with that conversation, they look at me and go, okay, that makes sense. so they're not quite as upset and angry. You just have to explain things to people.
Yeah, and explain it in a way that opens their mind to the possibility, right?
Yeah.
And for the record, no kids, always pays school taxes. Happy to do it because I want an educated force coming behind me.
100%. Can you imagine if we didn't pay school taxes and nobody was educated? We'd have no nurses, no doctors, no police, no utility people. Like, what would happen to this world?
That's right.
So no, good with school taxes.
Me too. Okay, you got me there. I'm totally supporting that one.
Good.
Okay, question 5. So why is municipal politics important to you?
Well, municipal politics is a level of government that we deal with every day in our lives.
Yeah.
Our roads, our utilities, our recreation services that we use every day to provide within the municipality. And municipal government officials, which myself, when I become one of your counselors, I live in the community, right? We're part of the community.
Yeah.
So the policies and bylaws adopted by the elected officials of the city need to work for the citizens.
Right.
I want to represent my fellow Camrose residents in an accountable and ethical way.
Yeah, I love that.
So
it's the people, like I said, this is the closest to governance that you get.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no stupid party politics. There's nothing. It's just people living and working here, and you get to actually see the tangible results of your work.
100%.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
That's a great answer. Okay, last one. Woo, we made it. Why do you believe that you, Lana, are great? My listeners know I had written this best, but I changed it to great because that's okay. Why do you believe that you are a great candidate for this position, Lana?
Well, Diane, I feel that I am the best candidate.
Okay, I love it.
See, I changed that too.
Okay.
I'm the best candidate because I deeply care about the community.
Mm-hmm.
I love this place. I want to truly listen to the citizens. I have the courage to contribute constructively as a council member and represent the citizens for the greater good. Okay. My experience as a former employee at the city, a resident, a taxpayer, a business owner, and as a longtime local city person makes me uniquely suited to represent everybody in council chambers. I love to give back. My husband and I give back by adopting the oldest cat we can find in Alberta.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
So far we have had family members come from Fort McMurray, Rocky Mountain House, Hannah and Calgary. We adopt them. They're usually between the ages of 18 to 19 years old.
Yeah.
So they're in their very, very senior years.
Yeah.
And we adopt them so they don't have to live their last years in a shelter.
Right.
And make sure that they have a place to call home. And that's what Camrose is to me.
Yeah.
It's home. And if I can make this place we call home better, it's a win-win for me. And as a city councillor, I know I can do that with your help.
Well done, Lana. I love the cats, the senior cats.
It's the most amazing feeling, Diane. You know what? It's sad in the end, but I would not change it for anything in the world because I've helped them. They've been happy. They've been healthy their entire life. And they didn't have to live in a shelter in a cage. They live in our home with all the love they can possibly take in.
Oh my God. Senior cat rescuer. What else do you need to know about Lana? Come on. Right. So that's been fantastic, Lana. We're at the end of my questions. Anything you want to add in?
No, Diane, I think that we covered an awful lot. Like I said, I love this city.
Yeah.
And being a counselor will allow me to give back.
Okay.
We can honor those who built this city by moving forward for future generations and for their families. And you can always count on me for my common sense.
There's the common sense, people. You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Well done, Lana. Thank you so much for making the time to come and do this with us.
And thank you, Diane. You were a pleasure.
So they're fun, right? Listen,
absolutely.
We always have fun on this podcast. If it's not fun, we don't do it. So
it sounds great.
Just a reminder to everybody, Election Day is October 18th. If you don't know where or how to vote, go to the City of Camrose. All the details are on there. They have an election page. Please exercise your right. People fought and unfortunately lost their life for this right for us. So please exercise your right on October 18th. And if you see Lana Broker, you might want to put a check mark beside her name too.
Please do.
Thanks so much, Lana.
Thank you, Diane.